I'll start after this week. That sentence sounds organized. It sounds responsible. It sounds like a plan. It isn't. It's a delay wrapped in structure. A promise that feels close enough to be real, but far enough to avoid action. Most people don't notice when this sentence enters their life. They notice much later when weeks have passed and nothing has moved. After this week feels different from someday. It has edges. It has a calendar. It feels finite. Psychologically, this is what makes it dangerous. In Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman explains that the brain prefers bounded delay over open uncertainty. A short delay feels manageable. It reduces anxiety. Your brain doesn't hear avoidance, it hears relief. You're not rejecting the task, you're just postponing discomfort by a few days. And because the delay feels small, you don't challenge it. Let's be precise. This week doesn't mean 7 days. It means emotional exhaustion, mental clutter, overstimulation. Excuses that feel legitimate this week is rarely unique. It just feels urgent because you're inside it. In 4,000 Weeks, Oliver Burkeman explains that modern life constantly produces temporary overload, conditions we expect to end, but never actually do. There is always a deadline, a problem, a distraction. A reason this week is not an exception. It's the default state. When you say I'll start after this week, you're making an unconscious agreement. You're agreeing that discomfort must be avoided, action requires ideal conditions, responsibility can wait until life cooperates. This agreement feels harmless, but it teaches your brain something important. Delay works. Because nothing bad happens when you postpone. No punishment. No loss. No immediate consequence. And behaviors that produce relief get reinforced. This is basic conditioning. B.F. Skinner documented this decades ago. Avoidance followed by relief becomes habit. Here's the part most people miss. You don't say after this week once. You say it again next week. Because weeks don't end psychologically. They roll over. In Atomic Habits, James Clear explains that habits don't change because of intention. They change because of repetition. And what you're repeating isn't delay, it's permission. Each week you postpone, you reinforce the identity of someone who starts later. And identities don't reset on Mondays. I'll start after this week depends on a fantasy that future you will be calmer, clearer, more disciplined, less distracted. Psychology calls this the future self fallacy. In The Paradox of Choice, Barry Schwartz explains that people overestimate how different they'll be in the future. But future you has the same brain, the same habits, the same avoidance patterns. Future you inherits your delays, not your intentions. Here's what this sentence slowly destroys self-trust. Every postponed start sends a message. I don't act when I say I will. Over time, you stop expecting yourself to follow through. Plans become symbolic. Goals become decorative. Promises lose weight. In The Courage to be Disliked, Ichiro Kishimi explains that confidence is not built through success, but through acting in alignment with intention. Delay breaks that alignment. Not loudly, quietly. This is why this pattern survives. There is no moment where life interrupts you and says, this delay is costing you. No alarm, no intervention, no warning. Life keeps functioning, and that makes the pattern feel harmless. But time doesn't need drama to be destructive. It only needs repetition. Weeks don't disappear loudly. They fade. People don't realize what after this week did to them until something changes. Not motivation, not inspiration, limitations. They notice fewer options, less flexibility, less energy to begin. Not because they failed, but because they waited long enough for waiting to shape them. Understanding arrives late, quiet, undeniable. I'll start after this week isn't scheduling. It's deferring responsibility to a version of life that never shows up. Weeks don't clear paths, they just pass. And one day, you won't remember which week you were waiting for, only that you kept waiting.